Hopping over to a SoundMojo event review, Joe Pacheco, you were down at Metallica at Stadium d'Olympique. I'm not even going to try to say it in French. You could probably say it better.
We could always just say it in English. Olympic Stadium.
Olympic Stadium. That's true. That's my out. So talk to us about this show, Joe, because obviously Metallica, 2 shows at the stadium, and this is also a stadium that Metallica fans will probably recognize some lore about as well.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Like I've been a fan of Metallica since, let's say, the 7th grade, right? When I heard Battery and Master of Puppets, the song, I was like, who Bon Jovi, who? No, this is the new thing, Anyway,
the new thing.
And all my friends at the time, they just weren't ready to hear that sound, they weren't ready. And it was like, oh, what are you listening to? What are you listening to? All this stuff. And then it's like, fast forward to, it didn't take that long, but let's fast forward to 2023. And it's like they're Pink Floyd level playing stadiums and the attendance here for those 2 days, 60 something thousand per night, total 127,500 people.
Is that all?
Yeah. And then there was another 60,000 watching electronica stuff, it's crazy, this city. When I think about it, I take stock of it, it's just insane. Anyway, back to this. Of course I had to go see this show because I felt like it was the event of the year for me personally, unless Taylor Swift would hit Montreal, that would probably be the event of the year, but Metallica, and what's freaky about it is like when I was a kid growing up, the adults in making decisions and doing this stuff couldn't care less about heavy metal or rock or anything like that. Oh, there's a Scorpions is in town. Fine, Scorpions is in town.
Yeah, good for them.
It's like Friday at 1:00 already. You had live bands playing outside in front of hundreds of people just waiting, lining up and stuff. So it's like they made it an event, which made me feel like, it's so cool that like this generation of whoever's in charge sees it as like, yeah, man, this is like tourist attraction. This is like important.
Yeah.
It's not just heavy metal. We don't like it,
It doesn't feel like it's marginalized anymore, right? It feels very much sort of accepted.
Yeah. And even, honored that like they would play here, and all that stuff. Anyway, before I get, so I got there, it was like just before 5:00, and trying to find my way through this whole thing, get my photo passes and all that stuff. And worked out, ushered in, and like I hadn't been to the stadium in so long. I mean, the last time I think I saw a show there was in the 90s, and it was Pink Floyd. And I always hated the sound. I couldn't really define anything. You can hear certain things, but it was just too big to. So I had that sort of apprehensive attitude going into it, of like, okay, it sounds probably not going to be very good,
And was it better than expected, or did it not live up to the sound?
Yeah, I had my little ear. First of all, I'll just gonna disclaimer this. They put us so far back that you'd need a lens that shoots the moon, and I only have one that goes about the 300 millimeters. So
get Lars in a spacesuit up there.
Yeah. So when I did the math, they had told me, it's 130 feet from the stage. I said, okay, mine covers about 170 feet. I should be okay. I got nothing, dude. I spent the whole night trying to shoot shots, and then when I would look, like it's just out of range. So like I have a lot of blurry Zach pictures, a lot of blurry pictures, or whatever. But let's get back to Mammoth. Mammoth started off the night, which if you don't know, it's Eddie Van Halen's son, right? Wolfgang Van Halen's band, and been taking the world by storm. And I think of rock and kind of sort of helping breathe in a bit of fresh,
absolutely,
rock scene. But I'm not familiar with the stuff, so I had my little earbuds in. I'm trying to take a shot, and I'm hearing the stuff, and I'm like, wow, the sound sounds really good. I could hear everything. I could hear his vocal melodies super clear. I could hear guitar parts and everything. So I was like, all right, this is starting off really good. Like I was upset that I couldn't get many shots, but I was like, all right, at least the sound is good, And the one thing that bothered me about Wolfgang's set was nothing musically or performance-wise. Well, performance, yes. Is they decided with a whole stage like that, he stayed in one spot with one mic and his back to half the audience.
Really? The whole show?
Oh, yeah. Well, his whole set was like 30 minutes, right?
Wow.
So I had this photographer next to me. He was a pro. He shoots all the main stuff. And he was saying, I don't think he got the memo. We're over here. Smile with us, So kind of, I was like, why would you do that? If I had that, at that age, if I had that opportunity, I'd be running around that stage like crazy, to see everybody. But whatever, I guess, he's doing his thing and he did well and people really liked it. My sort of personal highlight or what I was expecting to see was the second band, Pantera. So I was really glad I got to see these guys. I haven't seen these guys since the 90s as well.
I'm so jealous. I've never seen them, by the way. So I'm living through you on this one.
Yeah, I know. What's really cool is they started off the set with, obviously right away, just some imagery of Dimebag and Vinny, out of respect and everything.
Yeah.
So the crowd really got into it. And I have to admit, they sounded like they haven't skipped a beat in the sense they just,
Wow.
Phil Anselmo sounded like Phil Anselmo. Charlie Benantes on drum was a monster, sounded great. Zach, come on, Zach is Zach,
Always great.
And Rex is Rex. So it's all good. The sound sounded really good. The only complaint I had would be the drums were super loud, which is pretty rare, but it's like Pantera is like a metal band, man. So like the guitars were sort of just buried. I could tell, I could pick out what he was playing because I know those songs so intimately and those solos. But man, come on, dude. You could have used the boost. It would have been so much more enjoyable. But that's the only complaint I had for that. And man, people loved it. They played a great set, some really good songs. So definitely happy I got to see them.
Definitely, I can see what you're saying though, because like Pantera was always a band that it sounded like they had 500 guitar players and they had one, right? So it's like you need that beefy guitar sound.
I mean, it's got to be up front. I mean, vocals are always king. I get that, and metal drums or whatever. But this is Dimebag. It should have been a little bit louder. Well, it's not Dimebag, it's Zach there, but it should have been, in my opinion, it would have been just a bit louder.
Fair.
So that really well. Again, I got no shots, so whatever. We're going to be putting some here from some people that have sent me some stuff. And then we get to the main act,
the main event. So yeah, I'm curious to hear about this. So refresh my memory. When have you seen Metallica exactly in concert?
Well, I saw them first time and Justice for All tour, Sec 2. I remember that, and Queensryche, which was another one of my favorite bands at the time, opening up for them. So I really enjoyed that show. Paid $18 back then.
Amazing.
And then I saw them on the Black Album tour. I just can't remember because they came twice. I think there was some makeup shows for what you alluded to in the beginning, was the makeup for the fact that he stood in the middle of the pyro and the fire burned him in Montreal in 1991, which
Insane.
The same week, it's the anniversary of the same week that it happened.
So weird. So weird.
And the funny is that 3 days before, Guns N' Roses was in town, which was also that night, with that famous night in 91. But they were playing a Jean Drapeau, which is the outdoor scene. But all that to say, yeah, it's true. Like, because we had a riot here because of what happened, right? Metallica, you got burned, so you had to leave early. And then the Guns N' Roses, not only did they not make it on time for their normal set, but they made people wait an hour and a half, I think, even longer.
Oh, come on.
Yeah, Axl came out.
Good old Axl, eh?
Sounding horrible, apparently, because I wasn't there. No, I was there at the time. Yeah, it sounded pretty horrible. And then, I don't know, he started telling people off and then walked off stage, and that's
Come on.
A riot ensued. Can you imagine 50-something thousand people? It's a riot, bro. Like, it was crazy.
Yeah, you can get in trouble for that too. That's no joke.
Yeah, I don't know if he did or not. That's a good.
I know he did in St. Louis, right, or something, but he didn't get it in Montreal. So how would you say this compared then to those shows?
Well, better because there was no incident, So I'm thinking,
that's true.
Watch there be a riot here, 60,000 people. Who knows, right? But no, dude, nothing. Metalheads are awesome. They're just cool. They're just there to have a good time. You might have a jerk here and there, which I didn't see any, to be honest. It was just like so smooth. No major lineups anywhere because the freaking place is huge, but no major lineups. And it was just ran like a well-oiled machine, So kudos to Evenko promoters and everybody putting that stuff together because it's tough, man. And plus, we read the day before there was a big accident. They had a big accident. One of the rigs.
They had a crash, right?
So I don't know. It didn't affect anything here because it takes, I'm assuming they have leapfrog stages, right? So once being teared down, they're already probably performing the next one.
Yeah.
But anyway, if you wanted to eat something, minimum, I think, beer was $15 each. But like a trio, I guess it was a hamburger or a hot dog or something like that, was $34.50. If you
Come
wanted to
on, man. That's criminal.
Merch was merch, right? $70 shirts, $115 shirts. Somebody had a mug, a nice yellow mug that you had to be in the fan club to get. But wait, you had to be in the fan club to be allowed to buy it for $50.
It doesn't come with the fan club? Come on, guys.
I heard some of those passes, like the passes were like a couple $1,000 there to have the VIP stuff, like a meet and greets and all that. Hey, man, to each their own. It's not something
if you can afford it, it's great. I mean, yeah, it's definitely not in my price range, but unbelievable.
Getting back to the show, when they start, the one thing that I love about Metallica, and I always have loved about Metallica and a lot of major acts, is the classiness that this band displays all the time, within reason. I mean, they're not saints, whatever, but yeah, like the show starts and there's a whole montage of prior visits to Montreal, Quebec City,
Nice.
to do. So you have all these montage of nice pictures, fans, meet and greets with fans, them freaking out with fans, audiences with the Canadian flags and stuff. So it gets you going, man. It really does get you going and pumped. And they start off with Creeping Death from Ride the Lightning, which is awesome. I never got to
jumping
see that
right in.
Yeah, exactly. The Shortest Straw, which is another one I loved from and Justice for All. And then it was a great set, So like again, I got no shots because I tried, man. I really tried. I was cursing.
That's all we can do sometimes.
It ruined my vibe, but I tried not to let it ruin my vibe to enjoy the music and enjoy the show as well. And I did, So anyway, like I don't know, like if there's any way I could rate this. I don't know if I can give it like a 9 out of 10, 8.5 out of 10. I don't know because there's so many variables. Because
a lot of different bands as well.
That's it. The next night on the Sunday, which I couldn't make it because I had a family event, but it was, Ice Nine Kills and Five Finger Death Punch, and it did well. Obviously, they had another 60,000 people, so I didn't hear any craziness. But overall, dude, like I was happy with the sound. I started seeing some people writing that in their section the sound was a bit weird, but man, it's high. That place is big.
That's the thing; it's huge.
I still felt like from where I was on the floor, there was a lot of empty space. So, and I saw some of the pictures, and even though it's set up in the middle, had they sold more tickets, let's say they would have had it more full, but it made it look a bit empty to me, but it wasn't because there's almost 130,000 people.
No, I noticed that as well from the footage in general from this tour. It's just so big that it looks empty.
Yeah, like, well, this venue was huge, Olympic Stadium, from the 70s, to handle, the baseball teams played there and stuff like that. So it's huge, But no, in general, man, Metallica loves Montreal. Montreal loves Metallica. It went really well,
Incredible. Let us know if you got the chance to see Metallica so far on this tour or if you will be seeing them coming up down below in the comments.